Hello, this is Fire bringing you a guide on how to play veigar in ranked for beginners. This is from a down player's perspective. Okay, veigar is a bursty mage with insane damaging abilities, so let's jump right into them. His passive is basically another Chalice of Harmony and stacks with Chalice of Harmony, so it's for each percentage of his mana is gone, it's 1% increase mana regen. His first ability, which is Q, is Baleful Strike. This does a fair amount of damage and is a non-skill shot. If you kill a minion with this spell, you gain 1 ability power, a larger minion is 2 ability power, and if you kill an enemy champion with any source of damage, it gives ability power according to this ability's current rank. Dark Matter is a giant nuke which does a large amount of damage. Although it is a skill shot and will first hit the ground after 1.25 seconds. Event Horizon is an ability which creates a circle on target location. Any foe which runs into it gets stunned for a long period. Or you can also place the stun actually right on the champion if you're good enough. Primordial Burst is a veigar's ultimate and it's another non-skill shot which deals a large amount of magic damage and also hits the target for 80% of the target's current ability power. My runes in veigar vary into 3 different pages. Basically the first one is just a standard AP page where you go for as much ability power as possible. I wouldn't really recommend this since you already got the ability power in veigar, you shouldn't really take it. What I would do is basically go for the more movement speed rune page, since movement speed is something veigar already has a little bit, but being faster than the opponent is such a huge deal, because if you're faster than the opponent you can land easier event horizons, which will lead up to you can land Dark Matter, your ultimate, your Q. Event horizon is veigar's main ability, so adding more movement speed will definitely increase your skill level and increase your win rate. My mastery is a standard 2109. There's basically really nothing to say here. Now, veigar in the early game, veigar is more of a late game champion than most other mages. He doesn't really have early game at all. Try getting as many wins with your Baleful Strike as possible. There are 2 ways of playing veigar in the early game. I prefer one of them, and it's more the passive style where I rank my event horizon 2 times instead of ranking my Dark Matter. You can rank Dark Matter, but you will not use it, because the reason for this, since you will be farming ability power with Baleful Strike, so most situations you will never be able to afford spending another 100 mana or just 120 damage from Dark Matter, since most of the time you will just be running low on Baleful Strike mana, since you will just keep on using Baleful Strike, which costs 80 mana, and at some point you will just keep waiting for the mana so you can cast another Baleful Strike. You will almost never be able to cast Dark Matter, and the increased stun on Event Horizon really is a great way of just escaping ganks. And that's also another thing, if you take Dark Matter as a level 4 spell, then the problem is when you invent Horizon, the target is done for 1.5 seconds and Dark Matter takes 1.25 seconds and is a cast time Dark Matter. So the target actually has not only the ability to just flash, he also has the ability to run away, or as you can see in the clip, Fizz can just jump if he wanted to. This of course means that you will only get Dark Matter in level 8, since you need to upgrade Baleful Strike as many times as possible. Although, if you keep on staying in the lane, you should hit level 8 at a fair amount of point. Like, you should hit 8 pretty quickly actually. And at that point, it should be way easier for you to get a kill on someone. The other way is basically where you rank Dark Matter in level 4 and you, instead of using your Baleful Strike at killing minions, you use it at the enemy champion. This is actually a pretty good idea since it does a large amount of damage and it's a non-skill shot, so you can keep dodging the enemy skill shot, because you can fire yours and the only thing you have to concentrate about is dodging the opponent's skill shot. Now, one thing you should know when you're playing the early game is knowing when your opponent can start poking you. This is very important when you're an late game champion. Since I knew that Fizz in the other clip was a little bit weaker in the early game, you know, he needs that level 3 before he goes in and just completely arrest me out of the game, so I just tried to get as much farm as possible before I left level 3 or level 4. You really need to know as a late game champion which boundaries do you have, like how far can I go before I just have to play so passive that I basically can't do anything. Now it's also very important that you understand that you don't want to play passive to the level that your mid laner goes to another place, because the thing is, in solo queue you should never pick a champion where you can't do anything and that literally that the other lane opponent would just go to the other lanes and ruin them. You should, at the same point playing passively, you should also try to keep your opponent in the lane and try at least, maybe you should take some pokes so the lane opponent actually is interested in killing you instead of just going to the other lanes and ruin those lanes. Else the build in veigar, mainly I prefer to go for Fiend's Unholy Grail as the first item because I farm. Some players also choose to go for Defiant Grasp as the first item, then you can do some early game really insane damaging ability, but the thing is, you already got enough power to be honest. And with that said, we're going for the mid game. Now the mid game is where veigar now has a little bit more ability power, and you should have at least Sorcerer Shoes and a Fiend's Unholy Grail. And you should start building up to these 300 ability power so it ults, and his whole wombo combo hits about like 1,500 damage or something like that. So basically you should still try to farm as much as possible because it's just free farm. You should never just stop farming, because if you die at some point you will get behind so much. You always need to farm your Q, and if you are within veigar, just know this, just let him farm his Q, because it may be that you need the gold as well, but he gains 1 ability power, and basically 1 ability power is kinda worth 20 gold if you take it from needlessly large rods, 80 gold, which is 700 gold worth. Yeah, well, also if that doesn't have anything special in lane, you should just, keep farming your Baleful Strike, and whenever your jungler comes in, you should try to make a gank and make something with Event Horizon, but it's not always, you will not always be able to do that. Now at items at this point, this is a little bit tricky one, because basically you can, what I actually normally do is a Fiend's Unholy Grail, Sorcerer's Shoes, and then Rabadon's Death Cap. The reason for Rabadon's Death Cap is, if you buy a DFG, you kinda need to go in the carries. If you get a good start on the carries, you will also basically just one-shot them. It doesn't matter if it was the AD carry or the ability power carry, you'll probably just one-shot them. But if the enemy team has a champion as Java, you wouldn't be able to. So that's the reason why I most of the time just like to buy Rabadon's Death Cap, because then even if I go in the tanks, I'll still do large amounts of damage to the tanks. And also if I land just 1 Q at the carries, then it will still hit pretty hard. That's basically what I do in the mid game. I go for the Rabadon's Death Cap instead of DFG, and we then reach the late game. The late game is basically where you should start having around 800 to 1k ability power, and you should be able to even one-shot tanks at some points. The main problem you probably will run into when you play veigar is that you know the item called Guardian Angel and Banshee's Veil. It's very important that you communicate with your team and say, okay, this Swain has a Banshee's Veil, I need you Alistar to go in and use your headbutt just to get the Banshee's Veil off, because else I can't land with Event Horizon. It should be said, Event Horizon will only stun once, it cannot stun twice, like Thresh's ultimate can slow twice. Veigar's ultimate can, Event Horizon can only stun once. So if the target's Banshee's Veil proc on the stun, there's no more hope for you basically. So it's very important that you tell your teammates, okay, I need someone to proc this Banshee's Veil for me, else we'll basically just die. And the same thing goes with Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel is a little bit different, because what I will usually do if an enemy is a Guardian Angel is that I will wait with my Dark Matter. The reason for this is if you're good enough, then the Guardian Angel takes about 2 to 3 seconds to proc. You can land your Dark Matter the second the person revives, and Dark Matter will at this point deal about 1500 damage, so, and GA only heals for 750 HP, so the target just gets bursted to the ground. As you should also note that going on the tanks in the late game is okay, you should actually be able to one-shot them, and that's the reason why I think actually veigar is one of the stronger APs, because you can just, he can just go in and doesn't matter who he goes at, he'll still kill one shot. And then maybe you have lost your ultimate, all your abilities for 3 seconds, you just made the fight 5v4. And it's a great way of gaining elo. I love this champion, he does insane amount of damage, and he is the AP carry. He is the one who does the most amount of damage, has a 2.5 second stun, so you can't really argue he's that bad. Yeah, that's basically just it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, subscribe. The quality of this video isn't really the best. I know I don't really have the best PC yet. If you could tell me in the what's now called the chat. If you like the video or tell what I could do better, then please do that. If you have any questions, also ask that, and see you for the next video. Bye bye.